All right, welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. You're watching TV47 Breakfast, and being a Tuesday, we talk matters business. And I want us to shift gears now and talk matters biashara. But this morning, we want to ask the question between land and business. Which one should you invest in? So that is a question that we see a lot most times when somebody has just gotten some small money. They're always torn between land and business, and we are going to take a look at also other options of investments that we can also tap into aside from land and business itself. So this morning we do have CPA Martin Waweru in studio with us. He's an accountant and a financial expert. He'll be walking us through this conversation to help us understand a better investment option for all of us. So do interact with us on our socials, TV47 Kenya on Facebook and on YouTube, on X at TV47 Digital. You can tag me at Annie_Dida. Send in your feedback on WhatsApp as well, 0793 267 279, and we'll be sure to sample them in the course of this broadcast. Karibu sana, CPA.
Yes.
You ready?
I'm good.
Why are you yawning? Ninja?
It's good.
Oh, it's cold. Yeah, that one is excusable because it's raining in Nairobi. But we want to talk about land. Ama biashara, starting a business. Which one would you opt for? Which one would you advise somebody to go for?
Wow, good question. And again, my name is CPA Martin Waweru. I'm a practicing accountant with the firm Nitram Accountants Africa. And we offer audit, tax, and business advisory. So your question of land or business is quite a heavy question, if I may say, because you are trying to ask two questions that the timing of which option is quite, you need to think through. Land is not a plot. So land is big. You are talking of a big size of like acreage. And so it then means when we were learning about factors of production, land was one.
That one is in business class.
Yes. Yes, land was a factor of production. But now you are associating land and business.
Yeah.
It then means that there's a cultural way of like emotional attachment to land. So the question then is, what am I going land for? Is it of as a wealth, as a factor of preserving wealth, or just for that cultural attachment that now I have a tangible asset somewhere? For business, both land and business requires what we call capital.
Yeah.
And so capital is the amount, the initial amount you need to start or to acquire anything. So to start a business, it also depends with how much and what kind of business. So two of them, are we doing it as an investment? So investing in land is maybe ideal, because we may say that land is a dead kind of a dead capital or an investment, whereas business is live. Why? Cash flow generation. So easiest would be to consider at the stage, and who are you? Who are you in terms of age matters. And I believe anyone below the age of 40
Yeah.
Unless you are picking an inheritance, may also not have that very substantial amount to invest in land.
But right now, young people are making money.
Yes, but it all depends with the now attachments. And for what reason are they going for land? But those people who have the business acumen will say, I'm buying land as an investment to start off. So in case you buy land and you develop it, then it turns now to be an investment that is in production. Or you cultivate. It depends with why the land. Whereas the business that you start, depending on any venture you take, it has what we may call, you can start production the very first day, meaning the small and you grow. And hence business is easy to invest in, depending on the seed capital. You may have, like, for example, 1 million.
Yeah.
What land, where would you buy with the 1 million shillings? With the same 1 million, which kind of a business would you start? And you start now growing that business. So as an entrepreneur, I would look at different considerations, why to go to the land and why to the business.
Before even we get into, what to look out for between, land and business.
Yes.
You've mentioned something quite interesting that, some people go for the investments in land because of cultural attachment. But in 2026, looking at it, is it a realistic reason for somebody to invest in land because of cultural attachment? Is it something that you'd look at and say that, this was a really good investment that I made in 2026?
Still again, the dynamics that are there in real life reality, and I've said age. So the young men and women today, going for land, it must have been a well thought through investment decision. And doing business have changed. We have so many people doing business online. So land, you need to consider, how do you invest in land? So for me, 2026, investing in land as your first start of investment, you need grace to start that off. But for business, a bit easy because you have now online platforms that you can do business anywhere, anytime.
How much does land cost CPA? You've said that if you have 1.5 million Kenyan shillings, then where can you get land with 1.5 million shillings? But how much does land cost in Kenya? For somebody who's watching and, they've been thinking about it, they haven't done due diligence yet. And land, an amount that would also guarantee a return on investment if somebody decides to go that route.
I said at the very beginning, what is it that I want to do with that land? So rarely would you find a person to buy 1 acre of land as a production, as an investment. And so there are so many other factors. And one is the location of
I want you to kindly give us the figures, from where you sit. And I know you've interacted with this a lot of times.
Yes.
How much does land cost in an area where a return on investment is guaranteed? Somebody is watching, maybe, they're making use of the digital platforms, which are now, of course, making a lot of money, giving the young people a lot of revenues and employment and all. And I would say young people have money in this country, right?
Okay.
How much is land in Kenya?
Anne, you're putting me to test, and Kenya is a very dynamic country. So in Nairobi, there is no land for cultivation. Very minimal for cultivation. And cultivation, I mean for farming. And more so, that of crops farming. Because with a half an acre somewhere, somebody in Nairobi can also cultivate, can keep a dairy cow and can be in an investment. So investment on land, return on investment on land, it depends. What have you acquired the land for? Is it to cultivate? Is it to put up a flats, residential? So the return on investment on land depends on what you have bought it for. Because empty land have no production. Empty land is just but kind of preserving capital. And that's why I said that land as an investment, at the very beginning with nothing, with no activity at it, we can only say that you have reserved wealth through buying that of the land. And so the return on investment of land without having done anything out of speculation is when now you consider the costs that you bought, any incidental costs, maybe fencing, some planting of trees. Then much later, you sell off the same land without, just with the minimal developments. Now, return on investment is now the selling price of today of that land less what you bought, and so that becomes the return, which comparatively now you can consider if you started a business, or if with the same amount you invested that money into a fixed deposit or a money market fund, the return. So after what period have you disposed of that land? So return on investment. So, but far out of Nairobi, there are also other areas that are highly speculative, matters land, and it also depends with the activities that are done in the surrounding. Either farming or maybe leasing out. There are people who buy land and lease. But also there is these people who does land buying, subdividing and selling. For them, their stock is land, is the units of the subdivided. So they're in business of buying and selling land. So they're in business. Remember, they are not investing in land. They are buying and selling frequently and at different places within the country. So the return on that which they are doing may be looked from a business perspective, because they may not have capital by themselves. They may have a financier. They put in the cost of borrowing, subdivide, markup, and sell. So land selling, land as an investment in Kenya depends on the location and what are the economic activities that are going. And also, maybe, there are people who are very speculative on matters land when it comes to capital development projects by the government, because land is known to increase in value due to the infrastructure development.
Right.
Yes.
You know, I want us to, because this show is usually helpful, and it intends to give our viewers tips on, you know, what to do and what not to do, right?
Yes, yes.
Assume you're advising me. How much money should I be saving or pocketing to be assured of land in a good place? Because you've said return on investment could depend on location because of various reasons.
Yes.
If an auditor now wants to invest in a piece of land in an area where it's booming and would guarantee me a return on my investment, then how much would you advise that I set aside? Basically, amount of money.
Okay, land. It depends with the location where you are looking at.
Yeah.
And for example, within Nairobi and Nairobi County and Kiambu County, and maybe a close vicinity of Murang'a, I would say that, and maybe even for the young people who are listening and who are feeling that owning a land, and now let's agree that land also means that 50 by 100 plot or 40 by 80, whatever, as a start of the investment. So it all depends with the location. Because, like I would say, in our neighborhood, a 50 by 100 would be costing around 5-6 million. 5-6 million. Half that is 50 by 100. There's the same place down somewhere interior in Nairobi County.
Yeah.
It's bigger. And maybe let's get, because Nairobi and Kiambu are somehow inseparable. So it's more of metropolitan. So there are areas of Kiambu, Nairobi, that you will find that the same 50 by 100, you would find it even with less than $1 million. But the same plot of 50 by 100 in high-end estates, you'll find it with do I say even 20 million Kenya shillings?
That is if you know someone who knows someone.
Yes, not even that.
Yeah.
You can even just go to, those are for our grandfathers who are still here, and maybe they have passed to their children in those high-end areas. 50 by 100, you will even find it with tens of millions. So it then comes back to you. What do you do for a living? And how much is your disposable income? Your disposable income then guides on your savings. And for how long? Now, there are different ways of unlocking development. You may not have money, because time value of money also matters. You may have, you may know the cost of buying that plot. And you would be in a position to acquire a facility, a loan, financing, depending on your different sources, like a SACCO, bank, and that. Then you consider to buy that land. You'll be now paying the loan facility. At the point of now finishing the payment of the loan, you'll have, now the title will have transferred to you. You now have invested, you'll have now owned a piece of land. And the time that you shall now be selling, you'll consider the costs of the land plus the interests for the borrowed funds to finance that. Then you consider that and you mark up and you dispose. So land or that piece of land anywhere depends on the location and other proximities and other developments within an area. Those are the factors of consideration that determines the price of piece of land anywhere in the country.
All right. I want us to also take a look at what Kenyans are saying this morning with regard to the conversation you're having. Land or business, which investment should you go for? Okoth Guya says, and this is from Facebook this morning, land, business is like betting, you're taking full risk. There's another one here. Sean Slight Calais saying buy land because economy is poor. Festus Amache says buying land is also a business. Honorable Shadrach says you buy land and do investments later. Teituk Hillary says buy land. Zablon and Zeste says buy land is the best. You see this feedback that we are getting, you hear land, 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 land. Then what don't we understand, or what do we do wrong, the mistakes that we make, you know, when we have this money and we think about land as a very fast investment? Because as you can see clearly, you know, Kenyans are of the opinion that land is the better investment option.
I said the route for land, do I repeat the word dead? investment.
Dead.
Dead.
Oh, dead, yes.
Yes. Well, it's good to buy land as a way of preserving wealth. But how do you create wealth? So, in my day-to-day, is serving SMEs, medium, small enterprises, business owners, and much of it, majority of them, they are family-owned businesses. So, business, depending on which business, is which creates wealth. So, from in the wisdom of now an accountant, I would start small. I grow business. The return on that business, depending on what it is, because we have different types of business, the return on that business is what I would use to reinvest and diversify my investments. And so I would acquire land, I would run the business, which has other determinants for its growth, expansion, and return. Then the disposable or the profits, which is now we are talking of return, is what I would buy land. Now, as we look forward to expand the business, business would always look for growth. And growth can be internally supported or externally supported. Now, when you go for external financing to expand business, they would always ask for collaterals, security. And we are talking of business is a journey. The growth is within time. So maybe after first year, second year, I now came to decide I need now a piece of land. Maybe it is also being financed because the ownership, who owns the land? Is it the business in its operating name or is it you? So you would use those returns from the business to buy a piece of land. And that land becomes security for the business because both of them, they are okay.
Yeah.
But it depends on what are you looking for. Investing in land, as one has said, has very minimal risk.
Yes.
The risk on land is at the very beginning when you don't follow the due diligence in the conveyancing process. You need to do the due diligence. You need to do your own search. Once you do the search and you do through and to date, there is the digitization of the lands office, the Adhisasa system platform. If you get search and it has no encumbrances, then it means that that title is clean. Now you can factor in the purchase. So once you mitigate that, then you are assured that what you have invested in will definitely one day give return. And that is the match of the risk. Otherwise, these other issues would be maybe unforeseen circumstances. Maybe you bought a land at a place that was earmarked for future development by the government. Then they do what we call forced acquisition. Then you are replaced, but there is a compensation. But for me, I would look at it as the growth plan. So for land, there is no risk. There is very minimal risk.
Yeah.
However, when it comes to the conversion, land takes forever to convert. So it then means that if you're looking for a kind of a quick turnaround, a quick return, land may not be the option. Land may not be the option. And then business depends with the owner's acumen to manage and other risks of running in a business depending on the sector specific. If you look at financing both options, if you bought land from a financing perspective, it's not comparable to expand business from financing option. All factors remaining constant. You have acquired a facility, talk about 14–15% interest rate at the same time. You would inject that capital into business. The business is running, so it's able to repay the capital and the interest of that loan.
Yeah.
What about land? Land has no immediate production unless you inject more now to develop it, and then the return, there must be a grace period before the land starts the production.
Yeah.
So then it then means that land to me is a passive investment. Yes. Whereas business is very proactive and it is very immediate for return.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you were starting, you said land is not a plot. Perhaps do you think that when Kenyans are looking at land as an investment option, the first thought that comes to mind is, you know, nitanunua hii land and then nitawekelea kaploti hapo and then be getting rent every month. Do you think that is the thought process behind Kenyans going for land as an investment option? And how risky is that?
You know, buying land is very influential from the different quarters or different groups that we are in. As a man, you'd always feel that maybe as you settle down, because there is always the journey of where you have come from.
Yeah.
From college, the entry to work, and then, you know, you can't give what you don't have.
Yeah.
So once you have satisfied the very basics, the very basics means you're able to sustain yourself. And so you're able to look forward and say now, what are my available investment options?
Yeah.
And you see, majority of those who would be talking about, for us, we tend to think about the plot I'll go for first will be maybe of settling down in future.
Yeah.
Before you think of buying and speculating. So you would still say that I'll buy one and another one and another one. While I'll decide that I need a settlement, I'll dispose of, and so then, and I said there is a difference between those people. We have land buying and selling companies.
Yes.
For them, they don't buy as land for investment. They buy land as stock. They subdivide. And so that becomes stock. Compared to a person who is running a consumable goods business, which has stock. So there are different factors that one would always consider as to why am I guided to buy land as an investment or start a business as an investment. And that is why then we have the advisory arm. Somebody will just say, I have this amount, would you advise me on? So once you consider the different factors, the location, the financing, the risks involved in that, because conversion of land, we have said it's not easy compared to starting a business. What are the risks of running a business? How do you manage growth? So starting, scaling up, and expansion of the business. So what skills do you have as a business owner to run that very business? Because we are now talking of business, and business is from an entrepreneurial perspective. So are you entrepreneurial in yourself? Are you self-driven? Are you able to cite opportunities? Because there is what we talk about being agile. You are able to cite opportunities and go for it. And if you are not a risk taker, you can't maybe take business. And if you don't have good communication skills, because as an entrepreneur, you are the very first marketer of your business. So if you don't know how to converse, to sell, it will be tricky. So if you want that very passive, go for land. But if you are aggressive and you want to grow business and diverse, business would be a better option. Yes.
All right. More feedback. Rama John says, it doesn't matter. You can buy anything. All right. There's Zablon and Zese says, buy land. It's the best. Stephen Omondi says, amesema to investment. Bora investment. But you're going to look at also other, investment options, CPA, that you'd walk us through.
Yes.
Aside from, land and business. John Karani says, biashara nowadays is dumping your money. Naita Vini says land business. Balozi says land is the best. And finally, Mutiri Kamau says buy land, iko chini. Anasema biashara is a bit tricky. There's something he has wrote there that I would not want to read out loud. But he's saying that buy land, biashara is not doing quite well. And this is the mindset that we're seeing that, a lot of Kenyans have when it comes to business, that business is not something that would, take them out as compared to how, maybe they're saying, because, they say that land preserves wealth and business creates wealth, right?
Yes.
And I feel like a lot of Kenyans are not having that mindset for business.
Yes.
What really is the problem with business? Walk us through the disadvantages of investments in business that you would say is the reason as to why Kenyans are quite afraid of going the business way.
Wow. Business. How do you start a business? Two forms. One, I'm also in business.
What kind of business? So that we can still enjoy you and become competitive.
Okay. My business is that of running the practice firm. The certified public accountancy firm. It's a business in itself. And so we offer audit, tax, accounting services, and business advisory, which now looks into different aspects of sustaining business, including how to manage, so governance. It's a business in its own. So how do you start a business? Two forms. One, experience over time and gained out of your qualification. And so you are bold as an employee, having been doing what you pursued over time, and then you say, naenda jua kali. That's what they say. The other way is where money works for you. You just want to run a business, whatever kind you have decided, and so that capital is what then you go forth to invest in business. Both of them, they vary in terms of the startup capital. Now, from a professional perspective, any professional guided, and this more of service, you require the very minimal capital to start with. I only need to have a clear roadmap where I'm starting, where I'm going, the form of operating that business. There are different forms of running a business, as a sole proprietor, partnership, or a limited company. The same, which is now where you are putting money. You can still decide to run it as a sole proprietor, as a partnership, as a limited company. But this one for stock, you must have done your calculations well. You must have done your what we call assessment. And people would always think of doing what they call a business plan. Business plan is just but a paper that kind of narrates the different aspects of a business. The real running of a business is what we call a business model. Business plan and a business model, those are two different documents that guides the business. So once you have chosen the business, so the question is, what will help you run the business? Because we have said majority of the service businesses, professional services, for example, requires on your professional experience over time and to continue offering the same over diverse clientele. For the goods that you are offering, or even service, for example, but they are services. For example, when you talk of logistics, logistics is a service business, but it requires other factors of distribution, because logistics means moving from one place to another. The question then, how will you distribute your services, that very service? How will you get the first customers? Who will be your suppliers? So who will be supporting you to run the business? For service, very easy. We started like one person, you are everything, but you are giving value. Over time, you get an assistant. Over time, you get a whole office with different departments. So it depends with the kind of business you are starting and the future of the business having mastered, because the business is not easy, and I agree. And that is why you can get the comments there. Business is like whatever. It depends with what kind of business, because not all businesses have the same risks and exposures as we talk about. So business depends primarily from the promoter or the starter who started the business, what informed the start of that business. So with all other factors of running the business, I would say they are business that even in the very tough economic times, challenging moments in business, they still survive. So how agile, how adaptive to changes, what ways and means of advancing your business, technology, adoption. How is the governance of the business? Who manages this? Is it you and everyone? Do you have, as the business grows, do you have other people who kind of are advisors, the governance? So how you structure the business, they are all determinants for growth into the business. So it depends. So when we talk of advisory, we look at the key issues to run that very particular business, because it's not a fit for all advice.
All right, that is factors to consider when doing business.
Yes.
Let's get more feedback, and then we take a look at mistakes that we make when we are doing business. Peter Osteen says, divide the money and buy a cheap piece of land, and the remaining money start a small business. What do you think about that? Comment.
So it's a wise decision. It's a wise decision.
All right. Okothgea says land, business. Okay, that one we read that one. And George Kimeli says business and profits will buy land. You've talked about that.
Yes.
One more. Peter Obondi says, yes, so after buying land, what next? I make up a question marks. After buying land, alafu, walk us through, mistakes that we make now when doing business. Because when we're looking at land, we say that sometimes, we don't do enough due diligence.
Yes.
To be able to get a return on investment from it. Then looking at business, what are mistakes that business people make at the onset?
Okay, other than not doing a proper land search. So the other factors that you see, there may be some other undocumented challenges that would face that particular piece of land. Like if it's an inheritance, there would be family issues. So about the handing over and all that. There are some other maybe subdivisions, disputes that would be now not be documented on the transfer document that you would not find around when you're doing your search. But then once you get the search from the prospective area of acquiring, then you can do a visit, and so that you just take to check around, to hear around. So that's all about land. So from whom are you buying? Are you buying from a land buying and selling companies? You can do a due diligence on your past, and from the mother title to the subdivision. You may, because you're talking of an investment, you may engage a conveyance lawyer who would take those matters on your behalf and be able to advise you. That said, land would be a safer way of, it has minimal risks. Now, for business, the question I asked is, what was the motive behind to start that which you started? And what are your experiences? So once you consider that, then develop a simple business canvas or a model that informs, number one, what are you selling? Who are your customers? And what are their needs? Once you identify the customers, who are your suppliers? So are you buying and selling, or are you the main person supplying the service? Because then you go out and look for customers, serving and speaking to their needs. What are other factors of service? What are your key costs? Your key costs are, for example, you'll have staff salaries, you'll have rent, you will have acquisition of systems and all that. So after the key costs, you look into means of distribution. How will you reach out to the customers that you are serving? So that then will dictate how you will need to set up. So for service, are you going there in person? So will you be commuting? Do you have travel means of your own? So factors to consider to set up the business and to run it, and skills behind you. That said, then what are those are what we may call internal factors that influences or determines the success of the business. The systems you put in place, the people you bring on board to help you run the business, and compliance. Now, then from internal factors, then we look at external factors. External factors may be those that we can be able to comply with, rules and regulations, policies that are regulate that particular business. For example, for us, to run a practice firm, you need to be registered with ISPAC. Registration as a member, and then you also get a practicing license, annual. Meaning you must fulfill those practice regulations and requirements, and you must be a member in good standing. And we have different categories. That said, then, you see, those are external factors that determine the success of your operations. Then, what other rules that determine the success? So, mostly, threats, the risks that there are those risks that will come and affect that particular business, but there are those that, for example, when we had COVID, it affected all of us. So then, and those are the risks that you may not be able to control. They are beyond your control. Now, coming back to the business, what systems have you put in place? And who are the people you have put in place? I can tell you, majority of the people you see running businesses, they don't start with systems in place. The owners start as they are. They start as everything into that very business. And it is through those gradual steps of growth that then they keep on expanding, putting in systems and policies and procedures in place that then the business is able to run within a framework for success. Yes.
So why do businesses fail?
For lack of those, number one, a business may fail because of external factors that have a catastrophe, the acts of God. For example, we had the other time, we had businesses affected by floods at Kirinyaga Road, through at Grogan. So if someone had stock and all that stock was swept away, all that stock was damaged, he would close unless he has a survival way of lifting back that business. From an internal perspective, if you have no ways and means of surviving, because you're not alone in that particular business, there is what is called competition. And if you can't survive the competition, because you must have your niche. You must have, there's what we call the red ocean and the blue ocean strategy of running business. What sets you apart? What unique offering do you have into the market? So what will happen is, because in business there is what we call variable costs and fixed costs. These fixed costs, whether you are in business, you are trading, or you are making a sale or not, you must meet them over that particular period of time. These other variable costs, you can control them because you kind of, yes, they are provided for if you run a budget, but you can manage. So it then means that you must be very proactive, aggressive in meeting the sales target so that you meet the variable and fixed costs. If you can't survive that, you close shop because you'll end up in debts, you're not able to meet obligations. If you are more highly regulated business and you're not able to meet those compliance requirements, you definitely close shop because we are in a space that you must fulfill the very mandatory compliance requirements for you to open doors for your customers. And then how do you sell out? So competition would be one of the reasons why you can close business. Others are now what we are talking about, the high cost of running business, from regulations, from high taxes, without ways and means of covering back. But when that comes, the agility in you stands out. So how do you expand even in other areas where competition is not a threat? And that's now how you identify your niche. We talk of the blue ocean strategy. Why blue and red? When you go to the ocean where there is fish and there is competition, so what then means in that competition, there is a lot of price undercutting. So when the fish are grappling for the small whalers, they kill each other. And when they kill each other, there is blood. So that's the red ocean. There is a lot of competition, so you must know how to survive. But the blue ocean is where then you see beyond the horizon, such that you have a niche, so you don't fear competition. And so you may need then what we call a service differentiation. That even if we are accountants, I don't fear the other practitioners within my areas because my offering has its own niche, has a differentiation, and it depends now, and you maintain the quality. So it looks into mastering your offering. And so you succeed. And you survive.
Looks like you do prefer the service provider business as opposed to the stock business, right? Or which one would you recommend?
I said stock in itself. You may not require a very particular training to sell stock, because it's a matter of seeing this cup, nice, I require this size, I can buy how much. So you require no special skills to run that. And the only determinant to run a stock business is your capital to put on. For service, you require your sharp brain and intellect and experience to identify the needs. And so you may just require a laptop and internet, you are good to go. Very simple, very easy. You grow. You even don't need rent. You start working from home. And you for service, you only need to know your customer and what are the needs of a customer.
So for you as CPA Martin Waweru, which one would you go for? You know, I know you've explained it quite well.
Yes.
But I want a yes or no answer. Do go for stock, go for, you know, stock up business, go for service provider business. Which one would, for somebody just watching, you know, and they have both, right? They have the capability of, you know, thriving in the stock business. They have the capability of also thriving in the service provider business, but looking at it in the long term for something that would survive the test of time, then which would you recommend? I won't go for yes for stock or no for service. I have just said how we start business. It depends on the exposure, your experience over time. And so, if for example, and you can't give what you don't have. So you need money, you need capital to start the stock business, because you must have stock. You must even have identified who is your supplier, or if you don't buy to sell, you must have capital to start the manufacturing. You get, and that now dictates more. For you to produce these, you need to manufacture. Do you have the required necessities for production? You get. So stock, if it is to manufacture, is more demanding. Stock, if it's to buy and sell with a markup, then you need to have identified the supplier. You may even be required to put a deposit. So if you have money to work for you, stock is for you. If you have experience and you have identified the client's needs, you only need now to identify, and you see now, you are the supplier. A service provider or a professional is the supplier of that service to the customers. So contrary to the production or the stock, for the stock and production, you need to identify the supplier first. The manufacturer, you manufacture where you are buying from compared to me as the supplier of the service, and then I identify the client. So, and for the service, I've said you can only start it from the experience of what you have been doing over time. Yes. All right, let's continue this conversation online. You know, buying land or starting a business, which is the better investment option for you? And tell us if you're convinced with the answers that CPA Martin Waweru has given us this morning. Are you? Ni kama mimi nitakutafuta kando, because I feel like you've beat around the bush, you know, a lot before you get to the point you have really umetupeleka kwa ukuta.
It's not a fit for all.
No, you are wanting this information from us, and I do not know why, but I want to give you a chance to give us your parting shots.
Yes.
Tukimaliza sasa.
Yes.
Somebody is joining us this morning. We're talking about buying land and starting a business in 30 seconds. Na usitupeleke kwa kona, kwa story mrefu. Land or business?
For me?
CPA.
For me, start business, return on business, buy land to secure the business. You are done.
All right. Simple.
Simple.
That is CPA Martin Waweru. He's an accountant and financial expert. Thank you so much, CPA, for making time for us to have this conversation. And let's continue on TV47 Kenya. on Facebook and on YouTube, on X at TV47 Digital, 0793-267-279. That's our WhatsApp line. Send us your feedback and we'll be sure to keep sampling them. We are done with this conversation. Up next is a conversation on AI and how we can determine if it's fake or real. We can determine what's fake and what's real. Fred will be back with that conversation in a short while. You're watching TV47 Breakfast. My name is Annie Odida. Good morning.